What's going on, y'all? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Ancestry Anthology, we are again cracking open Lost Omens Impossible Lands to talk about the Kashrishi. If you're liking what you're seeing, subscribe, ding the bell, stay caught up on all your stuff. For now, let's dive in. Okie dokie. So on planet Earth, we have a show called Star Trek: The Next Generation, whereupon they invented an alien species called the Betazoids, who could sense the thoughts from other ships, and that's a whole ass can of worms I don't necessarily want to get into. But they occupy a very similar space to the Kashrishi. Think about halfling sized, a little bit of rhino, a little bit of insect, a bit of psychic, and naturally empathic. They can evolve new features over the course of literal generations in response to their environment. And what an environment it is. Imagine a world where the people who are raising you can just sense your emotions when you're growing up. It really shoots that whole angsty teen phase in the head when you can literally always relate to the people around you because you can sense the feelings. This comes with the downside, too many minds at once. Very overwhelming very quickly. Raise your hands if you have social anxiety and this ancestry resonates with you. Yeah, that's what I thought. There is so much to describe physically about the Kashrishi, honestly, that I feel like we just need to jump into the mechanics to do it. The Kashrishi Ancestry has 8 hit points. They are small creatures with a speed of 25 feet, an ability boost to Con, and 1 freebie with no drawback. They have what might be the most powerful thing in the game, real talk, empathic sense, the ability to get a vague sense of the current emotional state of other beings within 15 feet of them, manifesting as general feelings of happiness, anger, fear, so on, without specific details. For those whom Kashrishi have an emotional connection, physical touch can make this more intense. This mechanically functions as an imprecise sense, which alerts you to the presence of anything that has a mind. You also get a +2 circumstance bonus on perception checks to sense motive against non-mindless creatures within that area. Also, you should be able to pick up anything. Even if you're rolling sense motive, if you have a general feeling of, that person is angry. Oh, that person is sad. Oh, that person is about 2 seconds away from trying to attack us. This should give you a lot of information really, really quickly if you can get close to folks. Ergo, it makes for the best party face, just full stop. Likewise, that horn of theirs glows. It emanates dim light in a 10-foot emanation until the start of your next turn. If you use an occult action gained from your ancestry, cast an innate occult spell, or cast a spell that has the mental trait. For our heritages, the Athamasi have a pair of small secondary arms, which lets you not hold anything but grab an edge if one or both of your primary hands are full and you aren't flat-footed while climbing. Sort of like the Trox, but, less super overtuned. The Lothasi gain a +2 circumstance bonus to athletics checks to swim, and if they crit fail that check, they get a failure instead. A nascent Kashrishi takes a little while to grow up, fully unlock their powers and stuff. Realizing that potential gets you a first level Kashrishi Ancestry feat, for which you meet the prerequisites on top of, the other one you get at level 1. That's cool. The Trogloshi gets the Crystal Luminescence Ancestry feat, which we'll get to in a second. And the Zyloshi, that big horn that they have, they can use it as a weapon. It deals 1d6 piercing damage in the brawling group with the finesse and unarmed traits. For our ancestry feats, community knowledge once per hour. As a reaction when you attempt a skill check requiring 3 actions or fewer, by communing the spirits of your ancestors, you get a +2 status bonus on the check. Crystal luminescence, that thing Trogloshi get. For 1 action, your horn glows with bioluminescent color, casting bright light in a 20-foot emanation and dim for the next 20. This light can be any color. The most common colors are blue and purple, but Trogloshi make white light. The light shuts off when you take the action again, fall unconscious, put a horn sheath on. There's a condom joke in there somewhere. If a spell or ability would activate your glowing horn while crystal luminescence is active, it instead increases the radius of the bright light and dim light by 10 feet each. The Trogloshi can select this twice to make the emanation 40 or sometimes 50 and to be able to activate it as a free action. Emotional Partitions gives you a +1 circumstance bonus on saving throws against emotion effects, and successes become critical successes. And Mental Sustenance lets you need only a single serving of food and water each week to avoid starvation or dehydration, and lets you hold your breath a little bit longer. I like that a lot on an Ancestry that would avoid eating animals because they can feel the sense of the creature. Open Mind gets you an Occult cantrip as an innate spell, and Puncturing Horn gets you a horn attack if you're not a Xyloshi, or makes the Xyloshis go to 1d8. Scuttle Up, available to the Athamasi or Xyloshi, grants a climb speed and tough skin. Those of you who are familiar with the Battle Zoo Dragon book, this is going to sound really familiar. The Lothasti or Xyloshi, their skin is so tough that it can be used as armor. Armor that grants a +4 item bonus to AC with a dex cap of 1, a check penalty of -2, and a speed penalty of -5. A strength value of 16, and the comfort trait, because it's your literal skin. Can't wear other armor, can't take your skin off, but you can etch runes on it. The Lothasti Kashrishi, well, their hide's really buoyant, so they can athletics their way across the surface of even like the worst water without having to roll. On to the 5th level stuff. Empathic Calm. Once per day, you can cast Calm Emotions or Sanctuary as an innate occult spell, heightened to have your level rounded up, for when you really need to shut off the barbarian, or you're afraid the barbarian will make the save, so you'd rather just Sanctuary yourself. Fighting Horn requires you be a Xyloshi or have Puncturing Horn, lets you modify your body with, that psychic evolution that we were talking about. This Ancestry has very distinct Simic Combine energy, and I don't hate that. This grants their horn disarm, grapple, shove, or trip. 2 of them anyway. Take this one more time and you can get all 4. Skilled Climber, available to the Athamasi or Xyloshi, gets you a climb speed of 10 feet, or Scuttle Up gets you a climb speed equal to your land speed when climbing trees or cavern walls. That's like 2/3 of the adventuring environments right there. This is not going to be good climbing up the mansion, but like if the dungeon is particularly darkest, you're probably fine. Unlock Secret gets you a 1st level occult spell, which you can cast once per day. Why not have a once per day soothe? And Well of Potential. If you have a focus pool, at least one innate spell from a Kashrishi heritage or ancestry feat that shares a tradition with at least one of your focus spells. So like if you're an occult witch, for one action, you regain 1 focus point up to your usual maximum. I don't know why I said occult witch before I said psychic, because psychic makes way more sense. This is dope though. Free archetype into champion and go like Desperate Prayer, Well of Potential, Irizoko Tattoo, that psychic feat that causes you to bleed out the nose but cheat focus points. Another pin of accolades on how get too many focus points, make sure my focus spells are going off constantly, and I think that's really cool and really build-aroundable. Triply so because of the flavor of the people that it comes with. Fortify Mind, when you would gain the Fascinated or condition, you can attempt a DC 17 flat check. On a success, you don't gain the Fascinated or condition. Yep, still gonna make that joke. Telekinetic Slip. Once per day, if your turn begins and you're grabbed or restrained, you gain a +2 status bonus to checks to escape from whatever's holding you down. This lasts until you're no longer grabbed or restrained, so turns, or you fall unconscious, as a thin layer of psychic energy helps push you out. That's really cool. Transcendent Realization, if you took Unlock Secret, gets you a 3rd level occult spell, which you can cast once per day as an innate occult spell. On to 13th Kashrishi, Revivification. Once per day, if you have the dying condition and are about to attempt a recovery check, you are restored to 1 hit point. You lose the dying and unconscious conditions and you can act normally on this turn. Your wounded condition goes up. You also didn't die because you psychically willed yourself back into being, exceeding the limitations of your physical body. I like the notion of the body evolving a response for like that gaping hole in your chest from where you got stabbed, such that it no longer is inconveniencing you. Reimagine, if you took Transcendent Realization, lets you cast Dreaming Potential as an innate occult spell. This normally targets a willing sleeping creature, but you can hit yourself. If you sleep for a full 8 hours uninterrupted, when you wake up, you spent a day of downtime retraining. Interesting. Overnight evolving into a barbarian, you say. Huh, neato. Bend Space, if you took Transcendent Realization, lets you cast Teleport as an innate occult spell. You don't have to touch folks. As long as they're in the range of your empathic sense, you can just will it into fucking being. And then lastly, Cleansing Light, once per day, for 2 actions. a burst of light fires out of your horn in a 20-foot emanation, and you get a 4th level restoration spell. The bad guys are dazzled until the end of your next turn, for when you really gotta make all the conditions go away, but also want to debuff. Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts about this one. The first and most prominent of which, I really like Eldritch Horror. I use it a lot in a lot of my homebrew games, but I also really like beings that feel alien, beings that are so associated with occult magic that aren't, innately horrible, terrible beings from beyond the stars. The Kashrishi had a lot of that same energy, and I think that's really cool. I know a lot of folks, myself included, can very easily vibe with things like tieflings or beastkin, the human with a little something different about them than everyone else. Raise your hands if you didn't fit in high school and that's why you started playing TTRPGs. Yes, what I thought. Yet the Kashrishi feel so alien compared to everything else, which makes them all the more interesting to me. Definitely when this art started coming out, small psychic rhinos, I assumed they would be called rhino folk, and they would be like short-sighted and cantankerous sometimes, or something like. Looks at all the rest of the animal ancestries and the way they're written, but this is really cool. By design, they're also so toolboxy. Whatever you want to get up to, you can get up to. The way it's written, as a people, I feel like, though there's not strict raw for this, and probably someone in the comments will chew me out for it, dreaming potential on the very rapidly evolving species to just hard reset your ancestry feats, maybe even your heritage, it makes a really interesting amount of sense. There's also so much really cool flavor for like what it would mean to be a species who are all so empathic. Like, it's hard to grab one exact thing here. Like, look at this. Kashrishi lack a clear concept of charity, not because they're cruel or inconsiderate, but rather because their worldview is inherently inclusive of the people around them. Rare indeed is the Kashrishi who exercises casual cruelty, or who leaves another member of the community in need. Such actions lead to emotional reactions that cause turmoil for literally everyone. They both enjoy team games, because of course you would. It's a whole different exercise if you can feel this concerto of emotions running through your head during like Yahtzee night, but also enjoy gambling and double-blind games where keeping your mind clear is the goal. Their naming conventions are really interesting too. Turns out that within Kashrishi society, names aren't necessarily a combination of syllables rolled together. More so, just gonna grab it again, the empathic sense of a Kashrishi has its own mental fingerprint that's unique to each member of the species. And this mental fingerprint can be conveyed through psychic communication as a name. Kashrishi who adventure with non-Kashrishi often adopt like Firehorn, Guardian, Mother, Scout, descriptive words to describe them to like shorthand that fingerprint. And even their stats are so like on point for what they're supposed to be about. An ability boost to Constitution and 1 freebie with no drawback, yeah, you could literally do anything with that. Everybody wants more con. That's a really interesting way where the mechanics and the flavor are jamming together, but I could ramble all day. That's all the time I'm gonna take for this one. What do y'all think? Let me know your thoughts on the Kashrishi in the comments. I'll be back at it next week for you in the comments. Who do you want to hear about next? Let me know. I need someone to break my decision paralysis, much like I did for the Kashrishi. But, as always, thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.